So let's start now. What we were discussing was informal. Now the formal session begins. And as you know, today's session is on history optional subject, right? And tomorrow the new batch begins. You might be knowing, I think, right? Most are attending online. And in today's session, my plan is to give you a broad idea about the two major issues related to history optional subject in the civil services exam, right? One issue is all about history optional subject, but history optional subject in civil services exam conducted by Union Public Service Commission. And second issue is all about the class program here. Okay. Now, one thing is very logical. When you start, you should know all about the subject you are going to study in future, and you are going to write answers. Okay. And second thing, since you are here, you are joining the classes, you must know all about the class program also. So I hope when these two issues would be settled, you will be comfortable in dealing with the subject and in handling also the sessions connected to the class program, and you will be in a better position to know how to go with the classes. Okay, so let's start without wasting the time. First, I am going to uh, discuss all about the history optional subject. I have presented broad points here, right? There's point number 1, that is course content, and you have more points here, like 2 to 10. All right? These are the 10 points under about history optional subject in the civil services exam. I think everyone opting for history optional subject, as you are opting, must know all these 10. Okay? Now, the first is the course content. And this is simple. I think most of you must be knowing this. But still, as you know, in every optional subject, there are 2 papers. Each paper consists of 250 marks. Same is applicable to history optional subject also. Paper 1 and paper 2, right? In paper 1, there are 2 sections, ancient Indian history and medieval Indian history. And in paper 2 also, there are 2 sections, modern Indian history and modern world history. Now, one more thing here. Here you find under 1AB, under 2AB. What is this all about? In ancient Indian history, if you consider all the themes as per the syllabus, there are 2 broad themes. One broad theme is art and culture themes that consist of art forms. All the art forms, relevant. Second, literature. Third, science and technology. Fourth, religion. Fifth, philosophy. And sixth, education system. So these 6 themes are there in the art and culture themes. And second broad theme is non-art and culture themes. And non-art and culture themes represent social themes, political themes, and economic themes. Is it very clear? And same is applicable to medieval Indian history as well. Now, why this bifurcation is important? This bifurcation is not there in the syllabus. In fact, I have done it for you. Why? Because this is the right way to prepare ancient Indian history and medieval Indian history. If you separate A under ancient Indian history and A under medieval Indian history. You prepare separately art and culture themes, ancient and medieval Indian history. And that is a major part of art and culture in GS as well. So you can separate it. You can use here in history optional. You can use this in GS Prelim and GS Main as well. And this is the bulk. After this, just a little bit of things are required related to modern India. Otherwise, this is almost complete for GS. Now, in paper 2, you have modern Indian history that includes post 1947 history also. And modern world history is 18th century to decade of 2000. Though modern world history begins in 16th century, but our syllabus is 18th century onwards. This is all about the course content of history optional subject. I think you are all aware of this as well. The only new thing here you find is this bifurcation. That's it. Is it very clear? So let's shift to number 2 under about history optional subject. Now number 2 is dates and years. Now normally people ask one question. It's a very popular question. What about the dates and years in history? Are a student supposed to mug up all the dates and years? And normally I have seen people doing this as well. What is your idea about this? So gradually you come to know many important ones. But I want to give you one idea here about dates and years. No, there is a misconception in the market. Normally people think that you should cram all dates and years. And this is very important. History is all about dates and years. This is not the case at this level. Now in history optional subject, and even in GS history, when you write answers, chronology is very, very important. You have to mention chronology. Without chronology, answers become a story. So chronology is really very important. But it doesn't mean you should cram dates and years. What you need is the knowledge of broad chronology. Broad chronology is what? I'm giving an example. Like first half of 20th century, mid of 20th century, second half of 20th century, beginning of 20th century, toward the end of 20th century, last decade of 20th century, first decade of 20th century. This kind of approach represent broad chronology. You're supposed to know this. And while writing answers, even if you don't remember precise date or year, this is the way you have to write. For example, one particular event took place in the beginning of the 20th century is fine. But writing beginning of the 20th century is important. I hope you are getting my point. So there is no need to cram. Second thing here, that all important dates and years you will remember automatically. How? Because you will come across dates and years in the class. You will come across all dates and years when you read books, when you read notes, when you revise. So finally what happens, automatically you remember all the important dates. As you remember the date of independence of India, you can't forget. Why? Because so many times you have come across this. No, as you remember certain lines of a popular song. Why? Because so many times you come across. Sometimes you hear the same song at some place, sometimes the same song at some other place. Hearing so many times, certain lines get into your mind. Same thing happens here as well. So the point here is there is no need to cram it. Okay? Use broad chronology and all the important Please come in. All the important dates and years you will remember automatically in the course of the class and in the course of your preparation. Okay? Now, the third is history in GS. What about history in GS? So very simple answer there. All history, what you are supposed to do in history optional subject is there in GS. I have just now shown you the course content of history optional subject, right? This is the course content of history optional subject. Perfectly all right. Paper 1, ancient Indian history, under that 2 themes. Medieval Indian history, under that 2 themes. And paper 2, modern Indian history and modern world history. Now connected to history in GS. Now, ancient Indian history, art and culture themes. This is there in GS Prelim plus in GS Main. Agreed? Ancient Indian history, non-art and culture theme. That means social themes, economic themes, and political themes. That is there in GS Preliminary. Medieval Indian history, art and culture themes. These themes are there in GS Prelim plus GS Main. And medieval Indian history, non-art and culture themes. All these themes are there in GS Prelim. This means the entire first paper of history optional subject is there in GS. Now let's move to second paper. Modern Indian history, that includes post 1947 history. This is there in GS Main. This is there in GS Prelim. Modern world history, and this is the same, 18th century onwards. This is there in GS Main. So what is left? Nothing is left. Everything is there. In one sense, when you study GS history, you study history optional subject without knowing it. Rather, there is more history in GS. Maybe you are getting surprised. How? More history than this. How this is more? Say, I'm writing here. Modern art and culture. This is absent in history optional, but this is there in GS. So this is extra history in GS, what is not there in history optional subject. Second thing, post 1947 history in history optional subject is 1947 to 1964. Mainly this is what we call first phase of independence, the Nehruvian era. The same thing is there in GS as well, but that is different. That is beyond 64 as well. That is still present. So GS part is 1947 till present. Now follow all the red ones on the smart board. All the red ones show history in GS. Don't you think you have more history in GS than in history optional? Of course, yes. But normally people are not aware of this. Now, if you study history optional subject, your history GS part is almost complete, excepting this is extra. So the point is very simple. When people ask history in GS, I mean, see this one. History, what about history in GS? This is also a very popular question. What about history in GS and how to deal with that? Now the answer is, these are the only two what you have to do extra. This won't be covered in history optional classes. Rest the same. For the rest, you don't have to do anything else. It's complete. Now, if you do art and culture in GS. So art and culture in GS means art and culture ancient, that is covered here. Art and culture medieval, that is covered here. And art and culture modern, that is not a part of history optional. So this is the extra you will have to do. But whatever you do here, that is more than enough for GS. And that is the reason we bifurcate and do it separately so that you can separate and use it in GS as well. Is this okay? Right? Now, the next thing about, in fact, we're discussing first big issue about history optional subject. First is the course content we have discussed. Second is dates and years we have discussed. Third is history in GS we have discussed. Now the fourth, and this is also a popular question. What is the duration required in order to complete history optional subject? Right. Now, there is a very simple logical answer. In all the popular optional subject, particularly humanities, because popular ones are humanities, history, pol science, sociology, anthropology, geography, PBAT, it takes roughly the same time, 4 to 5 months. So here I'm writing 4 to 5 months. This is the duration required to complete all the popular optional subject. In case you have political science, it will also take 4 to 5 months. In case geography, it will also take 4 to 5 months. Is it okay? But the class duration here, my class duration is about 6 months, plus minus. So maybe you're thinking, I'm saying here 4 to 5 months, but the class duration is 6 months, so the contradiction. Answer is what? The classes here, the class program here at NEXT IAS is entirely different from the class program of history elsewhere. How this is different? This I'm going to discuss later in detail. Meanwhile, I should give you the answer in brief why 6 months. Because this is all basics, all advanced, all PYQs, last 30 years, answer formats in the class, discussion on this. Answer writing discussions. Now, basics, this might be there in other classes as well, but here I ensure that anyone having no history background, knowing nothing in history, should be comfortable. So even the small, petty things, no? Even though sometimes you raise some silly issues, I don't mind. I discuss them because this makes you comfortable. So even the small things, what is Varna? So I discuss. How Varna is different from Jati? I explain this also. How Ijardar is different from Balutedar? So I discuss this. So all basics, a lot of basics we also do. And then we move to advanced level so that we can answer the questions. A lot of answer writing is there almost in every class. We discuss certain answer formats and all PYQs. Then what happens? It takes some extra time. And that extra time is 1 to 2 months. And that's why I have just now said that by the time course is over, I ensure that all of you are in a position to answer almost all the questions that have occurred in the past year exams. Any question before you, you understand, you are comfortable, and you have answer. Given a chance that you revise the things, you will write a good answer. This means by the time course is over, I ensure that all of you are expert in answer writing. You don't need any test series, you don't need any class test, you don't need anything else. After completion of the course, you have to just sit and revise and produce in the exam, and so many questions would be there. So it takes extra time because this is just beyond just finishing the course. So it becomes about 6 months. Otherwise, it is 4 to 5 months for every optional subject. Okay? Now, if you ask me one more question here, I mean asking on your behalf and answering myself, that, okay, about 6 months we devote to the classes. So after that, what? After that, after the preliminary exam and before the main exam, whatever time you have, 3 to 4 months, this time 3 months roughly, 3 to 4 months you have. 3 to 4 months every day sitting for around 3 hours is enough to revise and produce in the exam. This means during the 6 months, you do everything. You do everything means everything. You know everything. All basics are clear. Timelines are clear. Trends are clear. What issues could occur as a question? This is very, very important. That is all clear. All issues you have with you. And everywhere you have plenty of knowledge. And you know how to write excellent answers. So finally what? And you have practiced this for 6 months. And we have one-to-one discussion here. I have said normally I come 20-25 minutes before the class and come here and sit here having discussions with you. And one aspect of discussion is one-to-one discussion on answer writing improvement. So suppose 6 months this process continues, how this will help, I hope you understand. Because class test series, these are the short processes. Just a few questions are there and just broad discussions are there. In order to become an expert, you need one-to-one discussion and focusing on meticulous details. Even grammatical errors are there that are to be improved because your aim should be to get 7 marks out of 10. So for 7 marks, your language, expression, content of the answer, introducing diagrams, so many things are there. So that required one-on-one discussion. It's not possible to test series and all. Okay? So I hope duration part is also very clear. Now next is length of the syllabus. In fact, today I'm running from temperature. I'm on paracetamol right now. So feeling thirsty very much. But since session was all fixed, so I thought I must go. So length of the syllabus. This is also a very popular question. What about the length of the syllabus? What do you think? What is your idea? How are you? I'm good. Some say syllabus is very lengthy. Some say no, it's okay. Syllabus of all optional subjects are somewhat like this. Second case is the logical answer. See, one thing I should tell you, one secret about the syllabus of the optional subject in the Civil Services Examination. This is at par with the bachelor's honors level and some elements of master level also included in every subject. So in this case, what happens? syllabus of every subject becomes very lengthy. You cannot say that syllabus of one subject is not lengthy and second is very lengthy. This is misconception. These people think on the basis of seeing the total area or surface the syllabus covers. But that is not logical. Like in the case of GS, you find syllabus is mentioned in one line. Like world history syllabus is mentioned in one line. Major events from 18th century like colonialism, capitalism, etc., etc. It doesn't mean syllabus is short. The same syllabus is in history optional subject, but the point is it is quite elaborated, not like etc., etc. So it depends on the way syllabus is presented also. Now here the logic is in every optional subject, since it is at par with the bachelor honors level and some aspects of master's level also included. So every syllabus is lengthy. And in every subject you will have to work very hard. So many things are there. Anything related to subject you dream of, that is there. You forget history meanwhile. Think of geography. Think of all science. Think of sociology. Think of public administration. Think of psychology. So anything in psychology you think of, that is there in the syllabus. Anything in geography you think of, that is there in the syllabus. Similarly, anything you think of in history, that is there. So syllabus is really lengthy everywhere. This is not the case of history, it's everywhere. But in history, there is one big advantage. There is also a secret. I mean, and very, I can say, a highly strategic aspect of preparation. Many are not aware. In history, one thing that is very, very important, that is not applicable to any other subject, is that in history, so many things are mentioned. For example, suppose this is the total syllabus of ancient Indian history, right? Suppose this is the total, assume. Now, if you prepare following syllabus word by word, this is suicidal. This completely wrong approach. No one does it, one who qualifies and gets very high marks. Why? Because the right strategy is connect it with PYQ. Connect it with PYQ and then decide what to be done. I'm going to make my point home, giving you example. Like in ancient Indian history, many rulers are there. Must be knowing, so many rulers were there. Simple. Ashoka is there, Samudragupta is there, Harsha is there, Chandragupta Maurya is there, Bimbisara, so many are there. I think hundreds are there. Okay? Now, but if you consider preparation for the main examination, history optional subject in civil services exam, the only ruler you should prepare is Ashoka. That's it. What I want to say here is that if any question has to occur related to policy of any ruler, this is the only ruler relevant. Or you can do one thing. Tonight, you go through the past year questions. Last 5-6 years, recent trend. You will find the only ruler you find is this. Move back last 10 years. Only ruler you find is this. Move back 15 years. The only ruler you find is this. This is not by mistake. This is what? Because the professors, those who set questions, they follow particular standard. I mean, they consider policy matters having higher relevance. And the traditional aspects they avoid. Overall result is Ashoka is the only option. So how many time you are saving here? Thing. This is one example I have given you. Suppose I give you second example. You consider the syllabus of Mughal rulers, for example. Mughals, for example. Suppose this is all about Mughal rulers. What is mentioned in the syllabus? Assume. So many are mentioned. Babur, Humayun, Akbar, every ruler, even later Mughals are mentioned. But if you consider the preparation for the main examination, you will find related to the policy matters, only two rulers are important, Akbar and Aurangzeb. Just have a look at the past year questions. You will find all the questions related to the policy matters with respect to Mughal rulers. These are the only two. So working on many other, it is a wastage of time. Syllabus becomes smaller. I give you third example. Assume this is all the syllabus of Indian national movement. And the nationalist leaders. Hundreds of national leaders were involved. Should we study them all? Answer is no. Answer is very simple. Only 4 leaders if you study, you will have questions. Dadabhai Nauroji, Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, and Subhash Chandra Bose. If any leader, nationalist leader, has to occur as a question, his ideas or role, they are the only 4 relevant. Again, the syllabus of INM becomes shorter. Finally, what I want to say here is that in the case of history, and this is only in the case of history, that if this is the total syllabus, of history optional subject, I mean, this is 100% what is mentioned, 100% what is mentioned, you have to work on roughly 60%. And you will have all question in the exam. But this requires expertise or knack to understand this pattern. I mean, this is what we focus in the class. We do everything. We do this also. But while doing this, I keep on telling you, see, but your focus finally is this. This might help you in GS history, this might help you in prelim. So we do everything, but finally for the main examination, history optional, your focus is this, and you will have almost all the questions. So syllabus becomes very small then in the case of this. So this is all about the length of the syllabus. Now next is the current issues in history. So what about the current issues in history? Do you have any idea? Answer is simple. There is no current issues in history. Why I'm discussing this, though some of you are aware of this? But I've seen some people working on current also. Someone said in the market, no, you have to do current. There are certain current issues in history also. Sometimes you find a leader in the news, I mean past leader. Suppose Mahatma Gandhi in the news sometimes. This is not current. Mahatma Gandhi was there. He did something. Anyway, Mahatma Gandhi has to be done. Some fort in the news. This is not current. Now, the only current could be that suppose some excavation taking place, right? And some discoveries are there. So that is addition. but this has no role in history optional subject, even in GS also, I think. So the point is that in general there is no current. You're not supposed to read newspapers for it, magazines for it, nothing. There are certain things in history what we call debate. Recently, you might have come across, you might have heard about certain things. For example, Stalin's, Tamil Nadu's chief minister's announcement as regards award for decipherment of Indus Valley script. Or suppose the Iron Age begins in South long back, or Aryans, they did not come from outside, they were indigenous people. This is not current. These are there in history. For example, when we do ancient Indian history, there is a topic, the Vedic age or the Vedic culture. When we discuss Vedic age, so there is one important issue, the Aryan problem. An Aryan problem is what? Who were the Aryans? Were they autochthones? Were they immigrants? What are the views? Views for, views against. Anyway, this is an important issue. This could be a question anyway. So it's not current. So the point is very simple. There is no current here. Seventh is theories and thinkers in history. What do you think? What is your idea? Normally, in all popular optional subject, first paper is full of theories and thinkers. Geography first paper, full of theories and thinkers. Pol science first paper, psychology first paper, PABAT first paper, sociology first paper, right? History is the only subject where you don't have any typical theories and thinkers. So this is also completely absent. A few are mentioned like Immanuel Kant and Karl Marx, but you don't have typical theories there. Just some broad idea about the role in historical times. That's all. And these two, I mean 6 and 7. 6 and 7, absence of current issues and absence of theories and thinkers. This make you comfortable as well. Because when you have current issues in your optional subject and when you have typical theories and thinkers, these two consume a lot of time. You have to do a lot of extra readings. You have to read newspapers. You have to read magazines. See, I mean, those who are preparing Pol Science optional, for example. So you have to do a lot of current, international relations and all, what is happening all around. And because if you have a look at the question paper, the current dimensions are dominant there. So you're free from doing all these things. Anyway, you have to do newspapers and all for GS, that is another thing. But for optional, absence of 6 and 7, this makes you very comfortable. This saves a lot of time. Now, 8 is repetitions in the question. In history, this is also, you can say, something that makes your preparation easier. How? Because if repetitions are not there, this means you have to do so many things, always there are new things. When you find a lot of repetitions are there, then you can gauge the pattern also. Like you did in the university examination, I hope you remember. What? Guesswork, like 30 issues. Out of 30, 5 are there. Here the only difference is not 30. Instead of 30, you have 300. But out of 300, you will have questions. All 5. In other optional subject, this is not possible because current is there and theories and thinkers, so many new things can be there. Repetitions, I have said, make your preparation easier. And what is very, very important here in history, that in history, there are many famous statements made by historical personalities and made by famous historians as well. These statements also occur as a question. And there are some so famous statement that they are also repeated in the question. We will find that 4 years back there was one statement as a question. Same statement as a question was there again in 2024. Same statement exactly. This doesn't happen in other optional subject, and this happens why? Because history is static. Current is not there. History is what? What has happened is history. Past records of events. So what has happened has happened. What is happening is not history. It will become history later. What will happen is not history. Naturally, what happens then? In this case, the scope becomes limited. New things cannot be added. And exam has been going on for the last many decades. Almost all the issues, themes have been put in the question. Now, before the question setter, this option that they could create something new is not possible in history. And they cannot ask anything, any irrelevant also. They have to put in the question some major and relevant ones. Is it okay? So naturally choice is what? To repeat the same. So you will find something related to causes of French Revolution. Ask today, ask again after 2 years, ask again after 2 years, ask again after 2 years. This is what we call repetition because the scope becomes very limited. So this helps you a lot also. We can predict also so many things. Now 9 is preparation without background. Can history be prepared without background? See, certain aspects of history, or like many aspects of history, you have come to know. In the classes, what we find, 40% of students are those who don't have history background. They're engineers or have science in the bachelor or sometimes doctors related to management and all. Roughly 60% are those who are having history history as the background subject. Okay? It's all because of, I think, interest. While studying history in school days and all, they got interested. And now they think like their subject is so difficult to be prepared now in the civil services, they switch over to that. But my point is very logical here. I've already said, I've talked about 3, history in GS. I have said all history is there in GS, plus some extra also. Even if you don't have history optional, you are doing all this plus this. In one sense, you are doing history optional. A little bit of depth. And depth is what here, particularly historiography. If you ask me one question, then what the difference here? The difference is the kind of issue that occur as a question. That is the only difference. For example, suppose you did total question in history optional subject. If you consider total question in history optional subject, if that is 100, so out of 100, 60 are more or less common. A standard is the same. What you get in GS. Similar kind of. But 40 is different. This means there are certain issues, they are very relevant in history optional subject related to a topic, but those issues are normally not put in the GS question. I hope you are getting my point, right? So my point is that anyway 60% you are doing. A little bit of elaboration that becomes history optional. Plus you have to do more history in GS. So on balance, this is roughly the same. Plus you have history in prelim as well. Since history is in prelim, so a lot of facts also you will have to mug up, as you do in other polity, geography and everywhere. So on balance, I think this becomes roughly the same. I hope you're getting my logic, right? So this is the logic on the basis of which I want to say that if you have interest, so you can do it without background as well. Because anyway, all history you are doing in GS, right? And second thing, since current is not there, typical theories, thinkers are not there. Length of the syllabus, I have said, this is the total length. If you work on 60%, you will have all the questions in the exam. All these also you can consider. And last is about the marks. This is also a very popular question. People normally ask, out of 500, what could be achieved? One simple answer is there. For all popular optional subjects, they are all humanities. In the present scenario, in all popular optional subjects, history, PABAD, psychology, geography, pol science, anthropology, sociology, they are the popular options. In the present scenario, the way marks are given, what you can obtain is, maximum I am saying, 300 to 330. Maybe you are expert in some subject like physics or mathematics where higher objectivity is there, maybe you can achieve more. But there, in those subjects, other problems are there. The depth and the extent, whatever. So 300 to 330. Recent trends suggest that those who get in 290s, that is, or about 300, 303, 304, 5, this is normally the highest marks in any popular optional subject. This time, one of my students, not history optional, but in GS, I have a program where I conduct classes for overall, this overall guidance program for GS and ASA, overall preparation for those who are economically weaker and they have appeared at interview once. So one guy belonging to that program, he's having 78th rank this time, and he's having anthropology optional. He has got 293 or 94 in anthropology, and this is the highest marks in anthropology this time. Now, this example I'm giving you to get the idea. So in the today's scenario, marking is very tough everywhere. So if you get in 290s and around 300, this is roughly the highest marks in any optional subject that we can target here also. Now, another simple logic is there, that marks depend on your performance. In every popular optional subject, you will find that there are people who get very high marks, there are people who get very poor marks. Like in anthropology, there are people who get in 280s, 290s, and there are people who get in 180s, 190s also. Similarly in pol science, similarly in geography, similarly in history also. There are people who are getting in 290s, 300 something, even 190s as well. It's all your performance. It's not like you choose any subject, you get very high marks. This is a misconception, misinformation being a spread. And the simple logic is that, do you think UPSC, when UPSC has presented so many optional subjects, why UPSC should discriminate among subjects, giving more marks in some and giving lesser marks in some? There is no logic at all. And this is confirmed by the marks people are getting. This time also, I know in history, there are people who have got 280s, 290s, and there are people who have got 180s and 190s also. And same is applicable to all optional subjects. It is purely your performance. So your performance makes a subject a scoring. If you write well, you get high marks. You write poorly, you get poor marks. Anyway. So this is all about the history optional subject. So I have discussed 1, course content, 2, marks, that is number 10. This must have given you some broad idea about this subject in Civil Services Exam conducted by UPSC. Now I'm going to discuss about the class. Under this, 12 points I have mentioned. And here also, in fact, see, the points, what I have included here are the points that represent information you must be aware of. Here also, in this case also, they represent information you must be aware of once you choose history optional as a subject. Similarly, since you are here at NEXT IAS and the history optional program run here, so you must know what about this program here, what kind of program is this. So about the class, the first is the number of students. I get sometimes mails also, sir, how many students are there in the class? I don't know why do they ask this. Maybe they want to see like maybe more numbers so teacher won't be in a position to handle. I don't know. But you should know this. The number of students in the class is about 300. But most in the online mode. But this number doesn't matter. Now one question was raised by one of you that, sir, what do you suggest? Offline mode is better or online mode is better? I said, see, nowadays most join in the online mode or hybrid mode. Sometimes they come to the class, sometimes they shift to the online mode. But I personally think offline mode is better because of certain reasons, because offline mode has certain advantages, I think. And the biggest advantage is here the one-to-one discussion for answer improvement. As I've said, I normally come 20-25 minutes before the class. I don't sit outside, come straight away, sit here. And this time we use in discussing with you. I call you, we put your answer here and we discuss one-on-one. How to improve, how this is good, how this is bad, how this is not good, how to be improved. So one day discussion, second day discussion, third day being very meticulous. Eventually after 1 month you find you have improved drastically. This is not possible in the online mode. Plus second, I think a lot of explanations are involved in the classes. Some technical things are there, some complexities are there. I think in the offline mode, no, you are in a better position to absorb the things. But still, among the 300, most are online. Now, second is background of their students. You should also know, but I have already answered this. 60% are there and they are having history background. And among the 60%, I think 70-80%, among the 60%, 70-80% are there from the top colleges in Delhi. Stephens, Hindu, Miranda, LSR, etc., etc. Mainly from DU. So out of 60%, 70% are around from DU. Rest 30% are from other, some good Usmania University, Aligarh University, all history people. The rest 40%, they are from diverse background. Some are engineers, mostly engineers nowadays I find. Some doctors, some from management background, some commerce background. So this is the background. I think very clear. Third is the class pattern. What is the class pattern? It's explanation or dictation or what way I teach and all. So see, the class pattern is more explanations, less dictation. Dictations are there when I feel the issue is very complex. And so if this is in black and white form, this is more consolidated. So I dictate, and many such issues are there. So a lot of dictations are also there. Plus, in the complex issues, technical issues, a lot of explanations are also required. A huge number of timelines are involved, concepts are involved, some basic definitions are involved. So a lot of explanations are there on the smart board. I mean, shifting to the note, I mean, this way, shifting here and explaining the things. Keep on making so many diagrams and all timelines and so many explanations are there. Plus, I use this kind of PPTs like this, and this serves as a short notes for you. This is very short, but the PPTs what I present is slightly elaborated version of this. So then what happens? Suppose one slide is there. So that is like a precise note on one issue. For example, suppose Satyagraha of Mahatma Gandhi. Okay? Suppose this is one issue we have to discuss in the class. So I have one slide on this. So here it is mentioned about the class. This is replaced by Satyagraha. And all core points are mentioned. And I explain them on the notes. So this serves as a precise note. Plus Satyagraha is there in your hard copy notes also. This way, you have two types of notes. One in the form of PPTs and second hard copy note, and one more form is there, soft copy. Sometimes I send soft copy notes also, some miscellaneous or some additional. Then you have three types of notes are there. Hard copy notes, they're in the book form. You have 4 books, one on is 6, right? And then soft copy notes, and then all PPTs are like precise notes. Getting my point? So the class pattern is more explanation, but dictation also, and all the typical issues, complex issues and all, plus the PPTs and explanation of the PPTs. And sometimes PPTs do not require any explanation. You just have to note down the points. Normally I allow you to take the snap. You can note down at home. Are you getting my point? Right? This is the way. Because say, in order to get around 300 marks, if you just bank on dictation, this is not possible. Because if the entire class is based on dictation, this becomes very narrow, very limited. A lot of understanding is required. Today's exam pattern is such, either GS or optional or whatever. If your understanding is poor, you cannot qualify. Because you have to connect so many things, you have to link so many things. Even questions are such where 2-3 issues are connected. A lot of timeline is there. If timeline is not clear, you cannot answer. Timeline cannot be dictated very properly. So any class I personally feel in today's exam scenario, if that is based on dictation, I don't think that is a good class. Because your preparation becomes very limited. Dictation should be there, I think, where the issue is very complex. And though you understand in the class, but chances are there once you are out after a week or so, it would be all disappear. So that should be in dictation form. So sometimes what I do, I explain and then I dictate. Sometimes I straight away dictate. Sometimes I just explain. So it's a mix of so many things. This is the class pattern. Next is what about the basics and fundamentals? Should you study history first and then join the class? No. All basics and fundamentals we discuss in the class. So whenever we start any topic, whatever basics get involved, we keep on discussing. Sometimes what happens that one issue related to what we call basics or fundamental is so important that becomes a question. Just now I've said one example like Varna and Jati, right? What is Varna? What is Jati? This is okay. This is a part of basics or fundamental. But the Varna and Jati, just these two put together becomes a full question, a typical one. For example, I create a question for you and related to ancient Indian history. That with respect to ancient Indian history, Varna system does not represent the society satisfactorily. Society in ancient times cannot be considered without the understanding of Jati. Do you agree? This becomes a question. I hope you are getting my point. So sometimes basics become question as well. And a lot of basics are there, definitions are there, concepts are there. So we keep on doing. So I don't expect that you come reading history and then you will understand. No, this is not the case. Even if you don't know anything, you will understand. But doing only basics and fundamentals is again wasting your time. Why? Because you have to qualify the exam. So finally what you have to do is you have to take off and come to a higher level, because the questions are not mainly related to basics, rather mainly related to the issues of higher level. So you will have to reach here in order to qualify. But basics create the foundation of this. Is it fine? So you don't have to read any basics for nothing. Next is doubt addressing session. What about the doubt addressing in the class? How do we address the doubts, your problems and your issues and all? So see, doubt addressing for the offline students. This is before the class first. I've said I normally come 20-25 minutes before the class and I straightway come here. Sometimes what happens, very interesting. I come here, nobody is there in the class. I keep on sitting, keep on waiting. Then someone enters, then we discuss problem. So doubt addressing for the offline mode student is before the class, one. Second, during the class, when the class is going on, you are free to raise any question. I keep on also asking you, okay, something done, then I ask you, okay, do you have any problem? Third is, after finishing the topic, in the next class, suppose you finish the topic today, you study at home, you find some problem, next day you can ask. Next way is through email. I will give you my email address. I think my email address is there, I will give you. So you can use email also. For the online students, one way is live. The class is going on. You can send the question here, right? And I will see and I will answer immediately, right? Is it fine? For the online student, second way is through email. Third way is through phone. Sometimes what happens, like the problems become so complex. It's not possible here through chat, not possible through email because email has limitations. You cannot write so many things and sometimes you fail to explain very effectively. So we talk on phone. In fact, I take your details, your phone number, email, your graduation subject, so many things. So all numbers are there. So you can send a request, we can have a talk on phone. This way, doubt addressing is done. So offline mode is slightly better in this context also, that you have better opportunity for doubt addressing because every day we are meeting. But still, in the case of online also, even phone facility is also available, so that is not a problem. Sixth is answer writing in the class. Say, normally in the class program in Delhi, you will find answer writing is done through either class test, I mean weekly, fortnightly kind of class test. or test series after completion of the course. I don't follow these two. Well, I personally feel this has serious limitation. In class tests, suppose fortnightly class tests I hold. I give you 5 questions. Okay. You answer those 5 questions. I give you broad evaluation over. Test series, what happened? I give you, suppose paper 1, paper 2, again paper 1, paper 2, or full. You answer, I give you broad evaluation. I personally feel this does not ensure real improvement. Real improvement is possible only when a teacher discusses one-on-one with their student and several times being very particular about the answer. Very particular means the way you start. No, this is wrong way. Don't start this way. Start this way. Write this. Okay. No, second paragraph, not this way. Not this way. Improve this. This can be improved like this. Third, fourth. No, not this fact. Add this fact. Add this. Remove this. This grammatical error. No, this kind of expression is wrong. Informally. Avoid. This kind of meticulous discussion several times. Several times means during 6 months. Sometimes this is 100 of times with one student. Then real improvement takes place. I believe in this and I follow this. And this has happened also. Suppose last session, those who completed history, have not joined test series anywhere. They're so comfortable over this period of 6 months. They're so comfortable. Any question you give them, they're comfortable. They know how to answer and how to write the best answer. The only thing they need is revise properly so that they remember everything to be produced in the examination hall. So answer writing here is individual basically. And how? The moment one section is over, I discuss all about the answer writing related to that section. How to write answers, what things to be avoided, what things to be followed. And I give answer formats on the board. I pick up questions, PYQs and all. I mean, this is the first discussion. This means I give you a broad idea how to write a beautiful answer. Then I send you PYQ related to that section, last 30 years. Suppose section is art and culture, ancient India, suppose, over. Once this is over, then I send you all past year question related to art and culture, ancient India, in the soft copy form. Then we discuss those PYQs in the class also. All the relevant ones which could be repeated and which are typical. You have problem. And then we keep on doing it. Almost in every class we have some discussion on answer writing. And then I encourage, and then I keep on giving you model questions, model issues. Then you have model questions, model issues, many in the class, and all the PYQs last 30 years. And this is on which you have to practice. Then I encourage you to write answers. Then you start writing answers. I start evaluating and one-to-one discussion. This process continues till the end of the course. I hope you're getting my point. So this way what happens, this becomes class test, test series, individual answer writing all rolled into one. And I've tested it. Every session I test it, how people become comfortable. So I believe in this, and you will also realize after joining is how this is helpful. And after that, you will realize that the only thing you required is that after completion of the class, you just sit and revise in such a way so that you remember everything. This is the main requirement. Getting my point? So this is the way the answer writing is conducted in the class. Is it okay? Then you have map. In history, you must be knowing in paper 1, there is a question on map. Okay? How math classes are conducted, this is also different from elsewhere. With elsewhere, you have some classes on math. I don't follow that because if you have some classes on math, you can't have perfection in dealing with that. You need accuracy. Plus, you need to deal with the map sites in such a way so that you ensure that you get out of 50, 40, 45 marks. So for that, what is required that you should do in process, not in just 1, 2, 3 classes. Once we start ancient Indian history, the way we do answer writing, similarly the way we do map. Some sites are from medieval Indian history also, so we include them also, early medieval particularly. So map discussion continues for a long period, roughly till the ancient history, Indian history course is over, rather than doing this in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 classes. So I keep on discussing, keep on showing you map, keep on sending you map, keep on sending you short notes. Answer writing program continues for the entire course. That is during all the 4 sections. Map is related to ancient Indian history, so map discussion continues for this entire course of ancient Indian history. This is the way to do that. And we have to focus on map because it's highly scored. Next is notes. What are the notes here? So as I have said, you have 3 types of notes. One is the hard copy notes. You have one book on each section. One on ancient Indian history, one on medieval, this way. Second type is soft copy notes on miscellaneous and additional issues. And third is the PPTs, they are also precise notes. So you have finally 3 types of notes. So you have to work on 3 types of notes. It's very clear, I have already discussed. Ninth is books. What about reading the books here with the classes? Say, if you follow the class and you follow 3 types of notes, is almost adequate to answer almost all, I'm not saying all, but almost all questions what would occur in the exam. This has happened last year, this has happened before that. And this is not what I say. We'll be starting the course tomorrow, right? Main examination will take place in August end. By the time we will complete certain sections, maybe we complete ancient, maybe we complete medieval, or we'll be doing medieval. In between you have main examination, you will have history papers always also. You will realize that whatever we have done in the class in ancient or medieval, out of that, in the forthcoming exam, you have so many questions, you feel so comfortable that you given a chance, you could write very good answer there. So this happens every year. Last year also, classes began in June. In September, main examination was conducted. So June, July, August, and September, some days, we had completed, I think, 3 sections around. So people went crazy. They came next day with the question papers and started telling me, sir, all the questions are, they were so happy seeing. And even one student came to me and told me, sir, do you have any setting in UPSC? Because the statement you taught in the class, those statements are also there in the question. How could this happen, like everything is same to same state? Answer is, I don't have any setting. Answer is that I have the knack. What could occur? I can predict. That if Mahatma Gandhi has to be done, so what in Mahatma Gandhi? If Ashoka, so what in Ashoka? If this knack is there and accordingly you teach, naturally question would be there. Plus you shorten also. Shortening means, like I have said, not all rulers, mainly Ashoka. Not all nationalist leaders, mainly 4. So this way you become comfortable in handling the syllabus as well. So this is all about the books. But one book each, if you follow, this is always better. See, some of you are having history background. Many of you are from DU, from good colleges. You have read a lot of books in history. Same books you can continue. Like for example, Upender Singh you read for ancient and early medieval. It's a good book. You can follow here as well. But one book each, I mean ancient, medieval and modern Indian history and one in world history. What you read for GS? What do you read for GS? You read R.S. Sharma old NCERT, ancient. Satish Chandra, again past series NCERT, medieval. Bipin Chandra past series NCERT, modern. Anwarul Haq or Arjun Dev for world. Same book you can follow here also with the class. So nothing extra. Similar book what you read in GS, in every section you follow, plus class and 3 types of notes. This is also enough. Plus some other books are there, what you have read, many, I mean those who are having history of like Upender Singh, Sekhar Bandyopadhyay and all. So you can follow them also because you have already read. But normally what we follow find in the class about students, those who are writing main and qualifying, that they don't read so many books. They just bank on the class and the 3 types of notes and some readings what they have already done earlier, nothing new. Just working on them and they find all questions are there, then they can write beautiful answers. Okay, over. So point is very simple. The same book what you read for GS, we can follow here. And some thicker books, what you have read in university, you can do. I don't recommend many. The classes are very comprehensive. You do so many things. You will realize in a week, you will realize that so many things are there with you. Even handling them also becomes difficult. And then PYQs. What about the PYQs in history? Yes, this is very important. This is important in GS. This is important in all optional. This is important in history. In history, this is more important. Why? Because there is no current. So nothing new can be added. Everything is static. So a lot of repetitions are there. So working on PYQ last 30 years is very important and you don't have to do anything. The moment we finish a section or topic, I will send you or I will give you PYQ related to that. Suppose we finish Indian National Movement, I will send you PYQ related to Indian National Movement last 30 years. And then we will have discussion on this also. All relevant ones which could be repeated. Then what happens many a time that exactly the same question we have discussed and I have given answer format, same 4 or 5 questions are there in the exam. We have ready-made answers with you. So this is related to every section, all the 4 sections and sometimes topic wise, sometimes section wise. Section wise means not world history overall. Within world history, subsections you can say. Like ancient history, subsection. Art and culture themes, which is one subsection. Political themes, one subsection. I mean this way. Suppose international movement, this is one subsection. Post 1947 history, one subsection. So this way PYQ, I keep on giving. Because working on PYQ is very important. There are a lot of repetitions are there. Plus that gives you the idea of the standard of the questions as well. Then next is duration of the class here. I have said duration is about 6 months. It depends on you also sometimes. Sometimes the class is faster. Sometimes the class is slightly slower. So plus minus, but it's about 6 months this is over. I have said you need 4 to 5 months to complete any popular optional. But we take extra because of discussion of so many PYQs and continuous answer writing program and so many, it takes more time. And last is support after completion of the course. Once your course is over, then what kind of support you can expect? I have already said 2 things. That email you can always use for any kind of query, any kind of issue, any kind of problem. till you become an IAS. So I'm there with you till you qualify. Phone facility is there wherever you. Today also I have talked to many past students. 3, 4 were there. Those who appeared at interview but finally could not qualify. Lost by 3 marks, 14 marks, 15 marks. I had a discussion with them. What improvement now? And they failed not because of history. They failed because of ethics. Some got 75 in ethics. One got 66 in essay. So 2 means are there. One is email and second is phone. So through email and phone, we can always in touch till you need my help and all. Regarding answer writing also, though I have said during the course of this 6 months, you become expert in answer writing. But even after that, if you want to write answer and want to get evaluation, email is there. You can send me the scanned copy of the answer. I will evaluate and give you back the feedback. In case phone call is needed, we will have a talk on phone as regards your evaluation. So that is always there because this is important. See, our exam is such where the coach, in fact, I am a coach. So coach should be always there till you succeed. But it's not a short process. It's a very long process. Is it okay? So this is all about the class. This is all about the history optional subject 1 to 10. And this is all about the class program here 1 to 12. Is it all right? And about the class, one more thing I want to tell you. I have said like our classes here at NEXT IAS is entirely different from the classes elsewhere in history of. I've told you so many things. I personally feel there are 3 things that are very unique. Nowhere else. I want to highlight that as well. The unique features of the class. Say, in every class of history optional, everywhere I think, many things are common. Answer writing is there, basics are also there, so many things are there. But I personally think these 3 things are not there. They are very crucial. First is the trend and the timeline discussion. See, history is all about development. So it involves a lot of trend. I give you certain example, like trend of urbanization in ancient times. Like first urbanization to second urbanization. Like first urbanization to third urbanization. Like a status of women, Vedic age to end of ancient period. Like urbanization, Sultanate to Mughal period. I hope you're getting my point. Suppose external trait, early medieval to late medieval. This is all what? Trend. So whole syllabus revolve around the trend. And the knowledge of trend is very poor normally. And if this knowledge is poor, you cannot handle the way questions are occurring nowadays. So a lot of focus is required on trend and timeline. On board, no dictation. I explain this on board. I mean this way. For example, suppose you choose any topic you choose. You choose any topic. Accordingly, I will explain. Any topic where trend is involved, you think. Pottery. No, pottery is no topic as such in history optional. Maybe a little bit of pottery you do in GS Art and Culture, but not in history. There is no topic. History optional topic. Now suppose non-cooperation movement, but this is a very small. Caste system, trend of caste system or non-cooperation movement, for example. Okay, so say caste system, for example. This involves a trend. How? You will have to start from around 600 BC. Caste system, what was known in ancient time jati, that emerges here in this period. This means there was no jati before this. How did this happen? What factors played a role? I'm in very brief now. In the classes, I will elaborate. I just want to give you the idea. Trend is what? So emergence of jati here, no jati before this, and so many factors played a role, and this kept on expanding. Initially, we have very limited references of jati. For one example, Chandal, for example. Then later on, what we find, this kept on expanding. More references of jati, more references, and finally, when we reach here, 300C, that is beginning of the age of the Guptas, then we have very clear-cut references of the huge number of jatis. So Gupta and post-Gupta age, that is 300C to 750C, this is the end of the ancient period. We have references of huge number of jatis, plus one more development had begun here onwards, but that became consolidated during this period, what we call asprissy. So lowest rung of all jatis came to be known as aspris. What do you call today untouchables? Many more factors began to play in the expansion of this. The jati status kept on changing. Jati dharma kept on changing. Jati dharma was defined. I mean, all these things we discuss. So this is what? Trend. This involves timeline. Now, you may have a full question on this. Or for any other type of question on jati, you should have the knowledge of this trend. I've explained this in just 2 minutes. In the class, this will take half an hour. This is one example what I have not chosen. You have chosen the example. And deliberately I have done this. That you choose example, I am going to explain what is this. And this is everywhere. The ancient, medieval, world, modern. And you have to be the masters of this in order to get around 300. So this is badly missing in other classes, I think. So I think this is one unique feature of this class, first one. Second one, issues that occur as question. I have just now said that. So many topics are there, right? And in every topic, so many issues are there. I have also said that everything does not occur as a question. Just now I have given you the idea that if you have to work on the policy of rulers in ancient times, Ashoka is the only choice. Working on rest is okay, but no need to focus that. Similarly, issues what could occur as a question is very important. Normally, in the normal history optional classes, what happened? Topic is taken, that is taught in general. So, issues in general are taught. My approach is what? Not issues in general. Rather, first basic issues, and then all those issues that could occur as a question or that occur as a question. Again, you choose a topic, any topic you choose. Okay, sorry, his topic I forgot. So non-cooperation movement he has chosen. One topic first we finish. Sorry. So non-cooperation movement, suppose. In fact, he has chosen for the timeline, but I shift to this. Non-cooperation movement, okay? Non-cooperation movement is a very, very small topic, okay? Of course, you are supposed to work on this. But if you work on the causes of non-cooperation movement, Normally, how non-cooperation movement is taught? Causes of non-cooperation movement, impact of non-cooperation movement. Done? Over. This way, you cannot predict that the question would be there. Right? Now, when I say issues that occur as question, so one issue, suppose here, non-cooperation movement, NCM 19-2022. If we have to do this in the class, of course, I will discuss the issue 1, causes, 2, impact. But this is fundamentals. Just working on these two, we cannot ensure that if any question has to occur from non-cooperation movement, that would be there and you will be comfortable in handling. No, because the standard is very high here. They normally don't ask causes and impact kind of things. So, issues that occur as question. Now, issues related to the topic NCM that could occur as a question. This is the focus in the class, which is badly missing elsewhere. Now, you might be thinking, what other issues now? What is left? All done? No. Give me some issues. Suppose 3. Mahatma Gandhi's attitude of cooperation to British into non-cooperation. I'm writing in short, okay? You must be knowing non-cooperation movement began under the leadership of Mahatma Gandhi. Now one issue is how Mahatma Gandhi's attitude of responsive cooperation to British rule got converted into non-cooperation. How do you explain this? This is one issue that could occur as a question. Suppose 4. Phases of NCM. It could be a question like throw light on the phases of non-cooperation movement 1920-22. Maybe you get surprised, phases what? But this is one issue. I hope you are getting my logic, what I want to say. So say, issues that occur as question. There are some specific issues. And basic issues are something else like causes, impact. Is it okay? Now, number 5. You might be knowing NCM was connected to Khilafat issue. One aim was Khilafat issue, right? So Mahatma Gandhi's support to Khilafat. Cut. Nationalism. Because one aim was Khilafat. And Khilafat was the issue related to Middle East. NCM was a program under national movement. But the issue was related to Middle East. Don't you think this was an extraterritorial issue? We cut the roots of nationalism. Do you agree? This kind of question could be there. I hope we have started getting related to this. This is a very small topic. This is what I want to say. This is what we focus in the class. And that is the reason people ask, sir, do you have any setting there? This is not because of setting. This is because of this kind of knowledge what I have. And this is the pattern of the exam. So I focus and so questions are there. Normally, non-cooperation movement, you all must have done in GS non-cooperation movement. What you have done? You have done 1, you have done 2, I think, normally. And teacher said this is over. Even in optional classes also the same way this is done. I said no. I tell you about the background of the non-cooperation, why non-cooperation and what was impact and all. This is fine. But these are just basics as per the standard of today's exam. Even for GS also I am saying, if you just work on this, because GS standard is also very high. See the history question in GS. If you do non-cooperation movement this way, only then you can answer GS questions as well. You cannot answer on the basis of just causes and impact. Is it fine? So I have mentioned 3, 4, 5. There would be around 10 here. And you have to connect, other issues would be connecting it to other movements as well. For example, suppose 6. NCM. First multi-class movement. And CDM. First radical manifestation of that. So NCM was the first multi-class movement under Gandhian leadership, and CDM, that is Civil Disobedience Movement 1930, was the first radical manifestation of that, means that multi-class aspect. Explain. Do you agree? Give views. This will also come under this kind of issue. Do you think NCM gave a new direction to Indian national movement? How NCM gave a new direction to Indian national movement? This means what was the old direction and what was the new? How, suppose 8, how NCM was an expansion of Swadesi movement. So how NCM was an expansion of Swadesi movement? What took place in 1905? I hope you get my point, what I want to say. So this is also badly missing in other classes. So one unique feature is this, what I have shown here. You have chosen example, caste system. And second is issues that occur as question. I have given one. You can choose more topic if you want. In every topic, this is the case. There are some basics, fundamentals, and then we have to move beyond that. So basic fundamentals take very short time. This we can finish in, I think, 10 minutes, 15 minutes in the class. The rest will take more time. I hope you're getting my point. And third unique thing is the standard answer formats and continuous answer writing. This is what I have already discussed. The moment we finish one subsection or one topic, I start discussing how to write beautiful answer. One day full class discussion is on that. Then I send you PYQ related to that subsection or topic. I give you so many model issues and questions on that. I encourage you to write. And we keep on evaluating this together one-to-one over the period of 6 months. This process continues till the end of the course. So this involves discussion of a large number of answer formats in the class. Answer formats means what? Suppose Mahatma Gandhi's attitude of cooperation got converted into non-cooperation. There is one issue that could become a question. We discuss the answer format. Okay, here the first part of the answer would be this. The second part of the answer would be this. The third part of the answer would be this. The fourth part of the answer would be this. This kind of discussion is discussion of answer format. one answer format, 2, 3, 10, 100, 200, you become expert finally. So I think these three, discussion, a lot of discussion on trend and timeline, issues that occur as question, a lot of discussion on this, focus on this rather than basics, and standard answer formats and continuous answer writing. These three are, I think, badly missing, and I think personally these three are the only that are crucial to get around 300. Otherwise, it's not possible. If you don't follow one, so many questions you can't answer. Your understanding would be very poor. If you don't follow two, so many questions should be there beyond your reach, like these kind of questions. And if you don't do three, you do three through test series and class test, you cannot write beautiful answer in order to get 6, 7 out of 10. And we have to do it. Why? In order to get around 300. And see, this is my email. You can take the snap of this. This is my email, what you can use anytime. So this is all about the total discussion. So my aim today, and when we begin, was to discuss two broad issues. One, all about history optional subject in civil services exam, and all about the class program here conducted by me. Right? Anything else you want to ask? Nothing specific, or we can discuss individually also. Okay then. Nice meeting all of you. All the best. Prepare hard. Next year you are all going to be an IAS. And I am there with you in this journey. All the best.